All right, well, we're back. It's a few days later, actually. Um, actually, about 4 days later, and got it all covered back up and everything. Um, Trip out actually went pretty well, considering we were able to get out there, break in the engine, went through and went through as Mercury specifies, running it basically full throttle or uh, 4 to 5 thousand RPMs for a minute, then cut down for about 10 minutes at various RPMs. And you do that every 10 minutes for an hour. So we did that. Um, then we stayed out on the lake for another hour or so, and ran it back and forth, just various RPMs, and got the motor running pretty well. I mean, it was running pretty well anyway. It's brand new. So anyway, that part was done. And then we stayed out there, another 4 hours. It was getting pretty hot, so we ran it, did a little fishing, didn't do all that great. Lost an anchor, which wasn't very good at all, but it kind of taught us a few things. And going with the anchor that I had, and I had done all the right things. Got the anchor, got 5 foot of chain, had the anchor rope attached to that. Apparently it got stuck on something, and it just would not come up. And no matter what we did, it just wouldn't come up. Well, I ended up connected it to the not a, it's not really a cleat. It's more of a little porthole on the pontoon, and tried to pull it out. And that didn't go so good for the anchor rope. So anyway, needless to say, we lost an anchor. We've since bought 2 other anchors, and I'm going to do those a little bit different, but I'll do a video on that one. And the other thing that we had a lot of issues with was actually putting it back on the trailer, being that it was pretty windy that day. It was maybe around 17 to 18 mile an hour winds, and putting a boat on a trailer is probably pretty easy for most people, and it is for smaller bass boats and whatnot. But when you can't really see the trailer from way up above, and the trailer is like way down there, yeah, it gets to be a little bit challenging, especially when the wind's blowing you all over the place. So anyway, we got it on there and kind of learned from that maybe some bunk guides would be maybe a good choice for helping us do that next time. So we bought those, and that's going to be another video. So just wanted to give you an update that everything went well. Boat ran well. Used about it's about a 40-gallon tank, and it used about 10 more or less. It's about sitting at about a quarter less. So I'm going to say about 10. I didn't measure it or anything, so I don't really have the full. Next time I go to the gas station, I'll know when I fill it back up. But I'm going to say about 10 gallons. So it's very good on gas. Very quiet. Don't hear it when it's running at idle. So real happy with that. And that's about it for the update on the trip. I'm going to probably add the anchor and possibly the bunk board addition to this video as well. So this is just kind of like just let you know everything went well. Back home, got everything back tied up and covered up. So well, okay, I kind of wanted to go over the anchors that we got. I had a much heavier anchor on there, at least the one that we lost, and I figured, well, why get such an expensive anchor? So what I ended up doing was going with it's a real light. It's not that heavy at all. Almost the same size, but not very heavy. You can get these on Amazon for under 20 bucks. So I figure if we lost it, it wouldn't be that big of a loss. Anchor rope, did opt for a little bit better on the anchor rope and a little smaller, since what I had before was 100 feet, I figured since 75% of it was on the boat and going through the lakes that we usually go through, probably the deepest we're going to find probably is around 50 to 60 feet. So where we're going to anchor is probably going to be more in the 15 to 20 foot range. So anyway, 50 feet. I did get two anchors, two ropes, and I don't much trust this little ring that it has on here. This is what it came with. Pretty flimsy little ring. I didn't like it, so I got these instead. Much heavier. I'm just going to use those. They're almost exactly the same size, so they're going to go in there like that with the rope, and I'll use a anchor hitch knot on that for the rope. And there'll be one in the front, one in the back. Another thing that we kind of learned was, we anchored, and of course we were trying to stay away from the wind, so we maybe were 15-20 feet away from a bank. I would say water was probably about 15 feet deep to 20. And what would end up happening, and even though it was anchored, the boat would swing. The back end of it would swing because I had it anchored in the front. So it would pretty much swing from one end all the way to the other end. And when you're fishing and you're sitting there and you're casting out, I want to determine where I want to fish. If I want to walk over to the other side of the boat and fish over there, or I want to walk this side, fish on this side, cast out. If I'm doing good on one side, I want to stay on that side. I don't want the boat to be swinging around telling me, hey, you're gonna cast over here, but the next time you're gonna cast over there, and so on and so forth. So we were swinging pretty wildly. So I got two of them. I figured run one on the front, one on the back, kind of hold us in the middle, hopefully, and then keep it steady. Now these are much lighter, so hopefully I won't run into that problem pulling up. And instead of on the other anchor, I did have 5 foot of chain on this. I think that worked to my disadvantage this time, actually, even though they say you're supposed to put about 4 to 5 feet of chain on it. It was a little heavier anchor, and it really dug into whatever it got stuck on. I want to say it was a tree limb or something, because we were close to trees, and we did get caught on a couple of pretty good sized little tree limbs, so I'm pretty sure it was stuck under a pretty good sized log because it didn't budge. So hopefully with this it will, if worst case is you lose it, but I'm hoping that it does okay for us. So we're going to give it a try, and then I'll let everybody know how this works out. And then what I'll probably do is I'll just when I put this together, I'll probably just leave the camera running on that, and then we'll do the bunk boards, the bunk guides that are going to go in the back, and I'll take I'll show you where that's going to go. I'll just walk around here because this is this thing sits right alongside my house. So if I look around the front right here, those bunk guides are going to fit right underneath right here in the underside, in the back, in the middle actually. They won't go on the outside, they'll go in the middle. So I think that's going to work out pretty good. At least hopefully help us the next time we get it on board, and we won't have as much of an issue putting it on that we did this last time. But it's always good to have lots of help, because that kind of saved me there. My wife was pulling on one end of the rope, and I was trying to line it up and get it in the bunk boards, and our daughter was cheering us on. So okay, well, turns out I didn't really need to use an arbor hitch knot on this anyway, since it does have this, and I did use this instead of the ring that goes on there, which is much stronger if you ask me. It actually worked out pretty good. So basically, that's going to hold on there, and this is going to be on the inside. So I think it's going to work out pretty good. In the long run, I think that's probably going to be the the better way to go on that. So I'm just gonna put one other one together here while I'm standing here, because I do have two of them. Yeah, pretty simple. I mean, the other one was a lot more difficult than this one. The other one I did use arbor knots, and I did tie everything together. I put zip locks on there and taped it up and everything, made it real nice and neat, and then lost it in the water. So probably not the best thing to do that again. So go for the easier route, cheaper route, and that's all there is to that. So 50 foot of line, anchor, front and back, should be good to go. We'll see what happens.